Golden Sponge Cake Spider-Man. Some Spider-Man variants are pure comic relief, and Golden Sponge Cake Spider-Man takes the cake, literally. This version first appeared in the late 1970s, not in the mainline Marvel comics, but in quirky Hostess snack cake ads. That's right, this Spider-Man's big power is selling snack cakes. He's got the classic spider powers, wall crawling, web slinging, and battling villains. But instead of using science or strength, he defeats criminals by offering them golden sponge cakes. The crooks can't resist and immediately abandon their evil plans for a snack. His first appearance came in a series of one-page ads running in comic books, starting around 1977. The humor was always intentional. These stories played up the absurdity of a superhero solving crimes by handing out treats. Over time, these ads became a running joke among fans, and Golden Sponge Cake Spider-Man turned into a cult favorite. He's even been referenced in official Marvel Multiverse handbooks as a legitimate alternate universe Spider-Man. What makes this version memorable isn't some epic battle or tragic origin, but how he pokes fun at the whole idea of superhero problem solving. In a sea of dramatic spider variants, Golden Sponge Cake Spider-Man proves that sometimes the weirdest ideas stick around simply because they make people smile. Spider-Rex, Peter Parker. Spider-Rex, the dinosaur Spider-Man, is officially named Peter Parker. This massive, web-slinging Tyrannosaurus is one of the wildest reimaginings Marvel has ever put to page. Spider-Rex made his debut in the Edge of Spider-Verse comics in 2022, where anything goes in the multiverse. The origin is as goofy as it sounds. A radioactive spider bites a T-Rex, and instead of just gaining powers, the dinosaur also picks up Peter Parker's heroic instincts. Spider-Rex has all the classic moves, swinging from trees with webbing, a supercharged dino roar, and a knack for saving the day. He stands out not just because he's a dinosaur in a Spider-Man costume, but because his stories are both action-packed and genuinely funny. Fans quickly embraced Spider-Rex thanks to his over-the-top visuals and the pure joy of seeing familiar Spider-Man tropes transplanted into the age of dinosaurs. He's fought other prehistoric villains like Venomsaurus and even joined spider teams from across the multiverse. The point isn't just the spectacle, it's how Spider-Rex captures the spirit of Spider-Man in a package nobody saw coming. So, if you ever wanted to see what happens when you combine a superhero and a T-Rex, Spider-Rex proves that with the right heart, and maybe a giant tail, Spider-Man's core can survive and thrive in any shape or era. Spider-Man, Aunt May. Aunt May steps into the web suit as Spider-Man. This alternate universe twist comes from What If number 23, where the story asks, what if Aunt May was bitten by the radioactive spider instead of Peter? The result is a surprisingly touching take on what it means to be a hero, at any age. Spider-Man doesn't just borrow Peter's powers, she brings her own life experience, wisdom, and sense of responsibility to the role. She still bakes cookies and cares for her family, but she also swings through the city, fighting crime and looking out for her loved ones. The stories often play with generational humor, but never at Aunt May's expense. Instead, she's portrayed as brave, capable, and deeply compassionate. Someone who becomes a hero not in spite of her age, but because of it. Her adventures are lighter in tone, with May using her unique perspective to solve problems differently from Peter. She's faced classic villains, balanced family chaos, and even joined multiversal spider teams when the stakes get high. Spider-Man flips Spider-Man's origin on its head and proves that heroism isn't limited by age. Anyone, grandma included, can make a difference when it really matters. Japanese Spider-Man, Takuya Yamashiro. Japanese Spider-Man, or Takuya Yamashiro, changed the way superheroes are seen around the world. Premiering in 1978, his story is totally different from Peter Parker's. Instead of being a student, Takuya is a motorcycle racer who gains his powers from an alien named Garia. He gets a spider bracelet that shoots webs, summons a flying car, and most importantly, can call a giant robot named Leopardon. This show was a collaboration between Marvel and Toei, and it introduced the tokusatsu style, think Power Rangers and giant mecha battles, to the Spider-Man mythos. Japanese Spider-Man's villains are over-the-top monsters, and the action is explosive, with martial arts, acrobatics, and special effects that were groundbreaking for their time. The suit is instantly recognizable, with a sleeker look and that all-important wrist device. The series only lasted 41 episodes, but it left a massive legacy. Leopardon, the giant robot, became so popular that it inspired the entire Super Sentai genre, which in turn became the basis for Power Rangers. Marvel has since embraced Takuya as a key player in Spider-Verse stories. He appears in crossover comics, video games, and even the animated Spider-Verse movies. Japanese Spider-Man proves that changing the formula can open up entirely new worlds. By mixing superhero action with Japanese pop culture, he became a legend in his own right, and influenced generations of superhero fans worldwide. Webslinger, Patrick O'Hara. Patrick O'Hara, better known as the Webslinger, brings Spider-Man's classic formula to the Wild West, blending superheroes with old-school Western grit. Webslinger rides into the Marvel Multiverse from the Edge of Spider-Verse anthology, first appearing in 2014. Instead of a radioactive spider, Patrick gets his powers from a mystical spider bite, and he uses them to uphold justice in a rugged frontier town plagued by outlaws and supernatural threats. His costume is a mashup of cowboy gear and Spider-Man's signature look. Think wide-brimmed hat, bandana mask, spurs, and a spider-webbed poncho. Instead of slinging webs from a city skyline, he uses six-shooter web pistols to swing from saloon balconies, wrangle runaway cattle, or corral train robbers. His adventures mix classic Western tropes with superhero action. Duels at high noon, runaway stagecoaches, and even supernatural villains like the Lizard Kid. What sets Webslinger apart is how his stories pay homage to both genres. He's got the moral code of a cowboy, but the wisecracks and quick thinking of Spider-Man. The result? A mashup that feels fresh, fun, and full of surprises. Webslinger's popularity proves that even in the Marvel Multiverse, there's always room for a hero with a little dust on his boots and a lot of heart. Sunspider, Charlotte Weber. Sunspider, aka Charlotte Weber, breaks barriers and redefines what it means to be a superhero. Introduced in Edge of Spider-Verse number 4 in 2018, Sunspider is one of the few disabled spider variants, and she's made a big impact since her debut. Charlotte was born with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a connective tissue disorder, and she uses crutches both in her civilian life and as part of her superhero gear. But these aren't ordinary crutches. They're high-tech, web-powered, and double as swinging aids and combat tools. Sunspider's powers are similar to Peter's, but her approach to crime fighting is all her own. She combines acrobatics, inventive web tactics, and quick wit to outsmart her foes, showing that adaptability is just as important as super strength. What really makes Sunspider stand out is how her stories center disability representation without turning it into a limitation. Her condition is just one aspect of her character. She's funny, confident, and unapologetically herself. Fans responded immediately, making her a breakout favorite and sparking conversations about diversity in comics. Sunspider has appeared in multiversal team-ups and even animated Spider-Verse media, solidifying her place among the most inspiring spider heroes. Her story is a reminder that there's no one way to be a superhero. Courage and creativity come in many forms. Ben Reilly, Scarlet Spider. Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider, is one of the most complex and enduring spider variants. Ben's story starts with the infamous clone saga of the 1990s, when Peter Parker learns he isn't the only Spider-Man, he's got a clone. Ben Reilly is genetically identical to Peter, but he's spent years living in the shadows, searching for his own purpose. When he steps out as the Scarlet Spider, Ben puts his own spin on heroics, sporting a distinctive red suit with a blue sleeveless hoodie and web cartridges on his wrists and ankles. Scarlet Spider's powers are identical to Peter's, but his attitude is different. He's more impulsive, sometimes less burdened by guilt, and often more willing to question the rules. Ben's adventures have taken him from solo street-level vigilante to a full-fledged Spider-Man, even substituting for Peter during a time when everyone believed Ben was the real original and Peter was the clone. The emotional stakes are high. Ben struggles with his identity, relationships, and the trauma of being a living copy. The clone saga itself was controversial, but Ben Reilly's popularity endured. He's headlined multiple solo series, appeared in major crossovers, and remains a fan favorite for his underdog spirit and resilience. His story explores themes of identity, belonging, and what it means to forge your own path, even when you share someone else's face. Scarlet Spider proves that sometimes, finding yourself means confronting what scares you most. He's a reminder that the Spider-Man legacy is big enough for more than one hero in the mask. Peni Parker. Peni Parker is a spider variant straight out of anime and manga. First appearing in Edge of Spider-Verse number 5 in 2014, Penny is a young girl living in a futuristic city where her father piloted a giant spider-themed mech called SP/Drock. After her father's tragic death, Penny is chosen by the radioactive spider that powers the mech, forming a psychic bond and taking up her father's legacy as both pilot and protector. What sets Penny apart is the fusion of Spider-Man's core themes with Japanese pop culture. The SP/Drock suit isn't just a robot, it's a partner, powered by both technology and the living spider inside. Penny's adventures are filled with emotional stakes. She's a teenager dealing with loss, responsibility, and the pressure of being the only one who can save her city from threats like Morbius and kaiju-sized villains. SP/Draw's design and storytelling style pay homage to classic mecha anime, with dynamic action sequences, emotional drama, and a distinct visual flair. Penny's character brings a sensitive, thoughtful energy to the Spider-Verse, often serving as a bridge between different worlds and generations. Peni Parker has become a standout in the Spider-Verse, especially after her appearances in the animated films. She shows that Spider-Man's legacy isn't just about swinging through skyscrapers, it's about taking up the mantle in your own way, no matter how big the shoes, or the mech suit, might be. Spider-Punk, Hobie Brown. Spider-Punk, also known as Hobie Brown, comes from a world ruled by authoritarian corporations and oppressive leaders, where punk rock isn't just a musical genre, it's a form of rebellion. First introduced in The Amazing Spider-Man No. 10, 2015, Spider-Punk stands out with his spiked vest, mohawk, and guitar weapon, blending superheroics with the raw energy of a punk concert. Hobie was a homeless teenager transformed by a radioactive spider, but instead of following the usual hero path, he becomes an activist, rallying the oppressed and fighting back against President Osborn's regime. Spider-Punk leads riots, topples corporate strongholds, and uses his music as both weapon and rallying cry. He's not afraid to break the rules or smash the system. His guitar can shoot webs and unleash sonic blasts, and his attitude is as sharp as his fashion. Spider-Punk's world is gritty, chaotic, and full of high-stakes battles against authority figures. But beneath the leather and spikes, he still embodies Spider-Man's core values: protecting the innocent, speaking truth to power, and never backing down from a fight. His stories are packed with social commentary, reflecting real-world struggles and the enduring power of youth rebellion. Fans love Spider-Punk for his style, his swagger, and his fearless stand against injustice. He's become a symbol for anyone who feels like an outsider or wants to change the world on their own terms. In the Spider-Verse, Spider-Punk shows that sometimes the loudest voice is the one that needs to be heard, and that even a Webslinger can start a revolution. Superior Spider-Man, Otto Octavius. Superior Spider-Man is the saga where Otto Octavius, better known as Dr. Octopus, swaps bodies with Peter Parker. This reality-shaking twist first hit in The Amazing Spider-Man No. 698 to 700 back in 2012. Dying and desperate, Otto uses his genius to perform a mind swap, trapping Peter in his failing body while taking over Peter's life and powers. The world believes Spider-Man is still Peter, but it's really Otto behind the mask, determined to prove he can be a better Spider-Man than the original. As Superior Spider-Man, Otto brings a ruthless, calculating edge to heroics. He upgrades the spider suit with new tech, launches spider bots to patrol the city, and isn't afraid to cross lines Peter never would. He's more efficient, sometimes more brutal, and absolutely convinced of his own superiority. But the story isn't just about a villain hijacking heroism. Otto genuinely tries to honor Peter's legacy, haunted by his memories and striving to be worthy, even as his arrogance leads to dangerous decisions. This era saw some of the most dramatic conflicts in Spider history: Otto's battles with the Sinister Six, his complicated romance with Anna Maria Marconi, and his eventual realization that true heroism requires empathy and humility. In the end, Peter's influence wins out, forcing Otto to let go and restore Peter's mind. The Superior Spider-Man storyline is a deep dive into redemption, ego, and what it really means to be Spider-Man, even for someone who started as the villain. Spider-Girl, Mayday Parker. Spider-Girl, also known as Mayday Parker, is the daughter of Peter and Mary Jane from the MC2 universe. She made her debut in What If, No. 105 in 1998, quickly spinning out into her own long-running series. In this alternate future, Peter is retired after losing a leg, and Mayday inherits both his powers and his sense of responsibility. Mayday is a classic coming-of-age hero, balancing high school, family expectations, and the burden of living up to her father's legend. She sports a costume reminiscent of Peter's classic suit, but with her own flair and web shooters. Like her dad, she faces a rogues gallery that includes both new villains and the children of Spider-Man's old enemies. Her stories dive into themes of legacy, identity, and the unique pressures of being a second-generation superhero. What sets Spider-Girl apart is her resilience and optimism. She's determined to honor her family while forging her own path. Over her many solo issues, making her the star of one of Marvel's longest-running female-led titles, Mayday has built a devoted fan base. The character's longevity and ongoing appearances in Spider-Verse stories prove her lasting appeal. Spider-Girl stands as proof that the Spider legacy can evolve, showing a future where heroism is inherited, redefined, and carried forward by the next generation. Spider-Man Noir. Spider-Man Noir takes Spider-Man back to the darkest days of the Great Depression. Debuting in Spider-Man Noir No. 1 in 2009, this variant reimagines Peter Parker as a hard-boiled vigilante in 1930s New York. Instead of radioactive science, Peter's powers come from a mystical spider idol discovered during an investigation with Uncle Ben. This Peter is shaped by poverty, corruption, and personal trauma. Spider-Man Noir's world is all shadows, rain-soaked alleys, and moral ambiguity. He wears a trench coat, goggles, and a mask reminiscent of pulp detectives, a far cry from the bright colors of the mainstream suit. Unlike the classic Peter, Noir isn't afraid to use lethal force when necessary. He fights grotesque versions of familiar villains, like a mob boss goblin and a cannibal vulture, and he's haunted by a sense of justice that pushes him to the edge. What makes Noir compelling isn't just the setting, but the way his stories explore power, corruption, and survival. The character has gone on to star in sequels, team up in multiversal crossovers, and even appear as a comedic mentor in Into the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man Noir shows how flexible the Spider-Man mythos is, capable of adapting to new genres and eras while still keeping the soul of the character intact. Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider. Spider-Gwen, now known as Ghost Spider, first appeared in Edge of Spider-Verse number 2 in 2014, instantly captivating fans by answering the question, what if Gwen Stacy, not Peter Parker, was bitten by the radioactive spider? On her world, Earth 65, Gwen becomes Spider-Woman, balancing heroics with her life as a drummer in a punk band. Spider-Gwen's suit, white, pink, and black with a hood, became an instant icon, sparking a wave of cosplay and merchandise. Her stories tackle themes of loss, guilt, and redemption, as Gwen is haunted by her universe's Peter Parker, who becomes the Lizard and dies in her arms. She's a hero on the run, facing both villains and the police, while navigating friendships, family, and the burden of being misunderstood. In recent years, Gwen's story has taken bold new turns. After surviving multiversal calamities like Spider-Geddon, she adopts the name Ghost Spider and moves to the main Marvel universe, Earth 616, where she starts fresh and faces new challenges. The character's feminist perspective, emotional depth, and musical subculture make her a standout in the Spider-Verse. Ghost Spider proves that great power and great storytelling can come from unexpected places, and that the Spider legacy is always open to new voices. Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara. Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara, was created in 1992 as the first Latino Spider-Man, hailing from a cyberpunk world dominated by megacorporations and neon-lit skyscrapers. He's a brilliant geneticist at Alchemax, who accidentally rewrites his own DNA with spider genes in a desperate move to break free from a corrupt system. Miguel's powers set him apart. He's got talons, paralyzing fangs, enhanced senses, organic webbing, and a suit built for the high-tech world of 2099. Unlike Peter, Miguel is driven less by guilt and more by a need to fix the injustices of his era. His world is brutal, with heroes mythologized and corporations above the law. Miguel fights both as a scientist and an outlaw, trying to create hope in a future that's almost given up. Spider-Man 2099's stories blend action, social commentary, and a healthy dose of futuristic weirdness. The character has teamed up with Peter Parker and played major roles in multiverse events, especially as the leader of the Spider Society in recent Spider-Verse films. His mix of sarcasm, intelligence, and vulnerability make him one of the most complex and enduring spider heroes. Miguel O'Hara's legacy is about more than just cool tech or a striking costume. It's about reimagining what Spider-Man can stand for in a world that desperately needs change. Cosmic Spider-Man, Captain Universe. Cosmic Spider-Man, also known as Captain Universe Spider-Man, is one of the most powerful versions of the character ever created. This isn't just Peter Parker with a power-up, it's Peter merged with the Unipower, a living cosmic force from the Enigma Force that shows up when the universe needs a savior. His transformation first happened during the Acts of Vengeance storyline in the late 1980s, when the Unipower chose Peter as its host to deal with threats no ordinary hero could handle. Cosmic Spider-Man's powers go way beyond wall crawling and web shooting. With the Unipower, Peter gains near-limitless strength, cosmic awareness, energy manipulation, flight, and durability that puts him on the same tier as Marvel's heaviest hitters. He once punched the Hulk into orbit, no exaggeration, and he's retained all of his classic spider abilities, making him a hybrid of street-level agility and cosmic might. This version even faced off with characters like Magneto and the Tri-Sentinel and came out on top. But great power brings new challenges. Marvel explored this in What If stories, where keeping the Unipower too long threatened to corrupt Peter, raising the question of whether anyone should have so much power. Ultimately, the Unipower leaves once the crisis passes, but Cosmic Spider-Man remains a favorite for showing how even the most grounded hero can stand among gods when the universe calls. Which of these wild Spider-Man variants surprised you most? Did your favorite make the list? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more Explainerverse videos just like this one.